Is on tonight.
I've always said that the pace of withdrawal would be dictated by the safety and security of our troops and the need to maintain stability.
Does Barack Obama have an Iraq problem? With the situation dramatically improving there, will he change his withdrawal plan? We'll find out. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Does Barack Obama have an Iraq problem? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The senator from Illinois rose to prominence largely on one major issue, his opposition to the war in Iraq. He was against it early on, and the committed left loved him for it. But now, U.S. forces in Iraq have achieved stunning victories, and with Iran growing as a danger to the world, many believe it would be foolish to quickly pull American forces out of there. Senator Obama understands that and has recently moderated his view on aggressive troop withdrawal.
It strikes me that that's something that we can begin relatively soon after inauguration. If, on the other hand, you've got a deteriorating situation for some reason, then that's going to have to be taken into account.
So Obama is giving himself some wiggle room on Iraq. As we reported last night, that has angered some on the left who want a complete pullout right now. Also, Senator Obama voted against supporting the surge, which he said would not work. He now admits he was wrong. With all that in play on Iraq, Senator McCain is chiding Obama.
I will hope that he will reach a position. I don't know what position he is because he's been all over the map, calling for immediate withdrawals back during the primaries to now saying it would be, so it's hard to know. I hope that he will go over there, get the kind of information that he needs, which he has not requested in the past.
So Iraq's now shaping up as a wild card issue. Talking Points has always maintained that Americans turned against the Iraq war because it was chaos and we weren't winning it. Now, we may be winning it. Will voters change their minds again? It's impossible to know, but the latest polls taken in June show that the majority of Americans still oppose the war. Now, Senator Obama is set to visit Iraq at the end of this month, and that puts him in a rather difficult position. General Petraeus, who is emerging as a national hero, will likely tell the senator that any U.S. pullout has to be okayed by the military. And if Obama disagrees with the general, he will lose the support of some Americans who believe Petraeus knows what he's doing. Any retreat on Iraq by Obama, though, will anger the far left, which is already going nuts. Actor Donald Sutherland, for example, is urging folks to contact Obama directly and demand he adhere to far-left policy. Sutherland and his brigades do not like Obama's move to the center, especially on Iraq, which is an enormous issue for them. So Senator Obama now finds himself in a very tough spot. But I know one thing. He can't go against General Petraeus and hope to be elected president. And that's a memo. Now, for the top story tonight, 2 reports on Iraq, the first on Obama's dilemma, the second on the actual fighting there. Joining us from Philadelphia, Fox News analyst and Obama supporter, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. Am I making any mistakes here in my analysis, Doctor?
You know, Bill, for once, I have to say you've done a decent job here.
For once?
I mean, this is the first time we're almost in agreement. I think that Barack Obama is in a tight situation. Fundamentally, you're right about that. I don't think, though, that it's late enough in the game to call him a flip-flopper just yet.
I didn't call him a flip-flopper.
No, but that's much of the critique that's coming from the right. People are saying, well, if he refines his policies, that's the same thing as retreating on Iraq and on his position on Iraq, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. If he decides, for example, to pull out in 18 months or 20 months, I think that's a reasonable stance that is informed by the information he gets on the ground.
But he can't decide that, and here's why. Because General Petraeus holds all the cards. As a student of the country, because you do teach at Temple University and you teach about the United States, General Petraeus is emerging as U.S. Grant. In the Civil War, Lincoln could not find an aggressive general to win the war until Grant was appointed as head of the Northern armies. Now Petraeus is winning the war in Iraq. Obama has to do what General Petraeus tells him to do. He can't go against General Petraeus. He can't.
I think he has to have a responsible response to General Petraeus, but there are many military experts, there are many people on the ground, Republican and Democrat, who believe that we could have a responsible withdrawal within 18 or 24 months. And so if he follows that, I think he'll be okay. The problem here is if he decides that he's not going to immediately redeploy troops, but he decides to wait a year or two. Because if he does that, he's going to be seen as someone...
Well, 18 to 24 months is a year or two. Look, here's the situation.
We don't know. A year or two beyond what he said. A year or two beyond what he said.
But see, the situation is out of Barack Obama's hands. This is why it's fascinating. It's out of his hands now. He got there. He just as we talked last night to Medea Benjamin, the Code Pink woman. He got there largely on the far left's fundraising and enthusiasm. You would agree, correct?
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
But now he is taking the major issue with the far left, and if you read the far left crazy blogs today, they are going nuts, okay? Because he knows, Barack Obama is smart enough to know, he cannot go against General Petraeus, who has, as I said, emerged as a hero in this country. He has the confidence of Americans in Iraq now, but not Barack Obama or either John McCain.
But this goes back to the point that I've been making all along. Although I think that Barack Obama is a much better choice than John McCain, I've always said that he's a centrist masquerading as a leftist. And so all of these positions, whether it's public financing, whether it's Iraq, he's slowly moved in a different direction because he's a pragmatist.
Isn't that deceitful, though? If he really is a centrist and not a leftist, and his voting record is the most liberal in the Senate, isn't that deceitful?
It's like I said to you a few weeks ago after the Father's Day speech. I think that he is a politician. He is not the change agent. To me, Barack Obama is the best of a bunch of political siblings, not entirely new breed of candidate. We have to have our eyes wide open when we vote for Barack Obama or John McCain. They're both people who say that they're mavericks and they're going to change everything, but in actuality, they're both people who change their position. They're both people who are political pragmatists. I do think Barack is the best, but this position on the Iraq war shows that at the end of the day, he's going to make a pragmatic decision that will get him elected more so.
I agree with you. I don't think any American president at this juncture in history could take office and go against General Petraeus, particularly with the Iranian situation as tense as it is. Yeah. Because if you take American troops out of there, the unintended consequences is that it emboldens Iran.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, it is. Listen. The Iranians want the United States out of there, desperately. There has to be a reason why. And the reason is they could then destabilize Iraq, if they chose to, which I think they would, and threaten Saudi Arabia because they want dominance in the region.
Well, that's why you need a conditional withdrawal. I think the problem is that in the midst of a Democratic primary where all the candidates were like used car salesmen promising the American people who could get them out of Iraq faster,
right.
They didn't have a sort of complex and nuanced response.
Absolutely, and I said that from the jump, that you can't go in there, but now it's different. Because now, after all the blood and treasure and after all the pain we've been through, this could turn into a victory for the United States. And you don't snatch defeat from the joys of victory. And that's where Barack Obama is. He makes one mistake in there, and history's going to kill him. I'll give you the last word.
As long as you have American troops fighting an unjust war and who are...
But it's not unjust.
But I get the last word, Bill. You know, the region is destabilized as it is. Sectarian violence is lower, but it's not as low as it was before 2006. We have to find a way to get our troops out and give Iraq the reins again. We can't do that as long as we're there. Barack Obama, in principle, is right. I have some disagreements with the strategy, but the core of getting our troops out as soon as possible is absolutely right.
Okay. Doctor, as always, thank you very much. Coming next, Colonel Ralph Peters on the military situation right now in Iraq. And later